So here we are in the fish room, just showing a little bit of what's been stored for the winter here in get ready to go into the pond this spring. So we have in this tank we have yellow labs, and also look close we can see some Alanakara otter point, and also the Protomelus, the tangerine tiger. That's the big daddy I got from Jason up in Chicago when I was there for a class a couple of years ago. Beautiful. He and his female over here produced, where is she? Over there. Have produced quite a bit of fry. So I've dished a little, some of the fry out, and a few I've kept around to add to the colony, the mother and father colony that we get going. So they're going in the pond. They'll show really up really well against the rock. Here's another species that I'm putting out in the pond. These are Neochromis omnicereus from Macobe Island. We call them Macobe ones. They have the piebald pattern, not the orange blotch. They're fairly aggressive. They'll go great with Mbuna. You can see they're in there with some Pseudotropheus salisi, which are not going out in the pond this year because the Masonite look a lot like the males, and I like to be able to differentiate any fry that I get. Also reduce the risk of hybridization. Another fish that's been stored for the winter is Pseudotropheus Masonite. Got a really nice colony here. These were actually taken out of the pond last year as fry, and as you can see they've done very well. I think I even noticed a couple holding in there. But they're pond bound. And in this aquarium there's a combination, but the ones going out in the pond are the Serta Karamori in here. They're very young, a couple inches I guess, but you can see there's already a veil starting to form. I had them in the pond several years ago. I tried them and they did really well. They're quite a docile fish, but given the ample room of the pond, the Mbuna don't really get aggressive with them or vice versa. So I can put a Protomelus, Serta, Alanakara all out in the pond. They do just fine. I have that artificial reef built in the middle of it that the Mbuna really seem to like. But they'll all coexist quite nicely out in that water volume where they wouldn't in a 55 or even 100 gallon aquarium. So here's the beast. This is what I refer to as the pond, but it's actually a above ground swimming pool a buddy of mine gave me a few years ago. So I've made some tweaks and stuff over the years, but I've just hooked the UV sterilizer up to it, so the water's a little green, but it'll get better. You can see in the middle there's a bunch of holy rock that's piled up almost to the surface. That's the reef. That's where the Mbuna like to hang out. Over a little further you can see oh, you might be able to see it, a tray of anyways, here we have a 1/2 horsepower pump running into a sand filter and into the pool. At this time I'll try to keep the water level down below the output. It just adds a little extra aeration. And this contraption over here is something I came up with. It's another return, another 1/2 horsepower pump. Runs up. This is actually the drain, so I've got the ability to hook a garden hose up to this end and water my garden or plants in the yard from the water when I'm making changes. And if I just want additional aeration when it's very hot, there's a spigot that runs right into the pool again. And there's also 2 leads coming into the pool. You can see down at the bottom, one is just straight up into the intake going to the pump, but the other I used to hook a hose onto, and I can use that to vacuum out the bottom of the pool. mulm will get built up over time. And also the UV sterilizer is very effective at what it does when it takes hold. It takes all those single cell bits of algae and burns them up, but it's so efficient that it'll actually make a detritus pile on the bottom. So if you don't have, and although the fish don't mind it at all, they like the mulm, they actually enjoy it, it's beneficial for them. However, I like to get into the water with the fish, and it's easy to stir up the water, and it doesn't make for good photography when you have suspended particles in the water. So there you have it. This is the green water as of May 6th, and hopefully within a week we'll see crystal clear water. But the water is no consequence to the fish. I'm going to start adding them right away. If you can see along the bottom, there's a large molly species, Priscilla formosa, the Amazon molly. It was collected locally. This is a tester fish. I put this in the pool to make sure the water is going to be okay for fish, for cichlids specifically, and I can keep them in the pond with the cichlids. They're fairly robust fish as well, and with other fish in the pond, they'll actually school together, so it's a pretty neat sight. So here we go. We fished the Masonite out of the tank and getting ready to put them in the pond. 19 of these little guys going in. Real nice colony, great colors, good stripes. Had a little bonus. One was holding, so we got a few Masonite fry. Always nice. Hopefully at the end of the year we'll have a lot more. So here we go, the releasing of the Masonite. Not going to worry too much about the water. I think it's pretty good. They'll be all right. Oh. And there they go. This must be a huge shock for them. And they'll swim around and explore until they find the rocks in the middle, then they'll feel really at home. Next going in are 14 yellow labs, Neochromis ceruleus. I've kept, over the years, I've tried to keep the best looking fish that I can from my line. I really like that, those black lines across the dorsal and the pelvic fins. Anyways, they make a great contrast to the Masonite that are already in there, so those are next. Also, there was another one packing. Well, I was doing my thing, trying to catch them, and I don't know, got probably 20 fry to work with coming up. Okay, here we go. Time to release the labs into their green water home. That's all of them. This is Protomela steveni, the Tangerine tiger. See, there's 6 of them going in there, including this beautiful male. They're going to just glow in the outside here in the pond. Actually put him right in. Here you go, little buddy. Away he goes. And the rest of them are joining him now.